Hi, it's Stacy. Welcome back. It is the end of May, and that means it's time to wrap it up. May was kind of all over the place, I'd say. June is probably shaping up to be very similar in a kind of different way, but let's just go right into what I read. First, I finished The Farthest Shore by Ursula K. Le Guin, and it was a good story. I wasn't completely wowed by it. I thought that the world was really interesting. I loved the dragons and exploration in it, the different places that they go, especially towards the end. I thought that was really interesting. So it was a good read, not a favorite, but I did enjoy it. So that's where I started the month. I also finished reading Memories of Ice by Steven Erikson, book 3 in the Malazan series. Right now, I think Dead House Gates is probably my favorite, although I did really enjoy the first book, Gardens of the Moon, as well. Memories of Ice was good. It wasn't my favorite. There were more things that I had issues with in Memories of Ice, but it definitely expanded on the world a lot. A lot of really cool things happened and really sad and terrible things happened. I definitely teared up a lot towards the end there, but there were just getting there. Certain things, a lot of dialogue chunks kind of distracted me from really enjoying it, but it was still really good. And so far, I'm loving this series and I'm very excited to continue. I'm going to take a bit of a break in June to focus on some other things, but I do plan on continuing the 4th book probably the beginning of August. After that, I read Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor, and this was really good, really short, but I really liked the world that we're introduced to in this story. I'm curious to know if we'll get anything else set in this world, or if she has anything else that is already set in this sort of futuristic world. I liked that it took me a little bit to realize that this was sort of futuristic, because it's just enough like modern day, and with a little bit of things are not the way you think they are. And I really like it when a story does that. I think it makes it the world really interesting. It makes it feel like this is not far off and something that could be happening soon. So yeah, I really liked the story. I liked the world. The character was really entertaining to read. Her story, definitely sad at points, definitely tugs at your heart, but I really liked the main character, and I would like to see more. I could see there being more to this, like more stories to go along with this, but I also wouldn't be surprised if this were it and she didn't continue with this character or this world, but who knows, we'll see. Then I read volume 7 of Witch Hat Atelier, the last volume that is currently out. It was adorable and I loved it. Very cute. And I love the theme of hope and dedication that is all throughout the series. It feels really good to read and it is very encouraging. So, good read. And then, on a completely different note, I read No Longer Human by Junji Ito. It's based on a novel written by Osamu Dazai. This was definitely not light, definitely not hopeful or fluffy at all. It was very dark and depressing and anxiety filling. So this follows a character who has extreme imposter syndrome, and he's terrified of everyone around him. He's pretty much just terrified of humans in general, even though, you know, he is one. It's the story of his life, his whole life, and what happens based on his life decisions and the things he decides to do. And it's definitely not a happy book. It does not have a happy ending, but it was still an interesting read. I also read this collection of short stories, X Mag Volume 3. This volume is themed dark fantasy, so it's comic short stories done by a variety of artists. I got it because it has one story done by artists that I really enjoy and follow on Instagram. Her name's Linnea Sterte, and this is the story, An Arrow for the King. I have her book, Stages of Rot. I did a review for that if you want to check that out. I love the way she tells stories and her art and the worlds that she builds. She does so much with so little. In Stages of Rot, there's barely any dialogue, but she really fills out the world and the characters in that comic, in those few pages. Same with this short story. There is more dialogue in this, but it's much, much shorter, but she's still able to sort of really fully realize this world and just to really feel for the few characters that we encounter in this story. So that was definitely my favorite story in this collection. There were a couple more that I enjoyed, some that didn't hit the mark for me at all, but I'm so glad I got it. I really, really liked her story in this. And that's all that I've finished. I finished everything that I was planning on reading around May 20th-ish, so I had like a little over a week left in the month. I wasn't sure what to pick up, and I ended up starting like 4 different things. A few days ago I did decide that I'm just not gonna read anything else until June starts, sort of give myself a break and focus on other things. Now there's only a couple days left. This is it for May. The only exception is Low Volume 5. I just got this in the mail the other day and I'm super excited. I read some of it this morning. I haven't finished, not even halfway through it yet, but this is the final volume, from what I understand, of this series, and I really enjoyed the first 4 volumes. I really think this world is interesting. This comic is a science fiction set right before the sun is about to pretty much engulf the earth. The world is about to end, and there's nothing really that anyone can do to stop it. So this book is filled with a lot of despair and wondering what is, the point. How do you move forward when you know the world is going to end and you can't do anything about it? But there is a character in this, Stella, who has hope, and she holds on to it throughout, and it's what pushes her and motivates her despite all the really terrible things that happen throughout this series. A lot of really terrible things happen to her and around her, but it's that hope that keeps pushing on despite everything. Despite it seeming like there is no hope, she still has it, which is very powerful. And I'm very excited to see how this concludes. So yeah, that was May. An interesting month. A lot of interesting reads. It was very laid back, I would say. I didn't really push myself very hard with the reading. A lot of comics and mangas for the most part, and short stories. So yeah, let me know if any of those sounded interesting to you, if you would be interested in any dedicated reviews for those. And then let me know what you read in May. Was anything surprising? Did you find any new favorites? I'd love to know. Well, thank you for watching. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.